Is there a way that we can test to see whether your version of a god, of your god, is true or false?
I don't think so. Mm-mm.
And you have a high confidence that this god is true? Even though there's no test?
I guess, I don't know, not a high confidence in like a scientific sense, but
In what kind of sense?
just kind of like an inner knowing, which I know isn't scientific, but
Yeah.
emotions also aren't.
Do you think that's a good way to determine what is true?
No, but I think, well, I don't think it's always a good way to determine what is true, no. And that's,
But you've used it to determine what is true?
my truth, but
Your
I also
truth.
don't see it as like an objective truth that everybody needs to believe.
So,
I guess I can talk a little bit about my faith. I'm Catholic,
okay.
so I believe in like traditional Catholic beliefs. Yeah.
Okay, cool. If we could get a little bit more specific and narrow it down to like one claim, is there something what in Catholicism am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah, Catholicism.
Okay. Catholicism, a hard word for me to pronounce.
That's okay.
What's the most important thing?
To me, it's just that like kind of the overarching theme of like Jesus came and died on the cross
Okay.
for our sins, and so I believe in that Jesus came and did that. I believe in God.
You want to talk about, I guess, we can either talk about God existing, the Catholic God, or we can talk about if Jesus died and rose.
Let's talk about God existing.
God existing? Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. Cool. How confident are you that that is the case?
I think I'm pretty confident in God, I would say. In like everything that the Catholic Church believes and everything about Catholicism, I would say like I have my doubts and there's certain points that I don't believe in, but with God existing, I'm pretty confident, but I also admit that it's a mindset that I choose to believe in and that I think
Okay.
benefits me in my life. So
Okay.
even if at the end of the day I was wrong, like I would still be comfortable in believing it.
I guess, should anyone, not just in Catholicism, should we believe something just because we might get a benefit of it from it, or?
I think in my own personal belief, I would say no, you shouldn't just believe in things for it to make you feel good, or
Yeah.
kind of like I've read that like religion can be like the opioid of the masses, just to believe it to make people feel good. But with Christianity as a whole, I think there's a lot of history that like supports the biblical beliefs as well, and so digging into that and kind of figuring out like the reason and the why for my faith has always been really comforting for me too.
What is the biggest reason
Like the reason for what?
for your confidence? Actually, how about first? I don't think I asked you did I ask you how confident you were?
You did.
Can you remind me of what you
Yeah,
said?
I said that I am pretty confident, but I wouldn't say that like nothing in my world or in my life is like with 100% without
Okay.
a doubt. I'm definitely like a very skeptical
Gotcha.
person.
So
Yeah.
what gets you to that very that high confidence, I guess? Not,
I think one thing that really made it for me was seeing like the overlap between like human connection and just like love on earth.
Okay.
Human connection is a big one, and
Sure.
a lot of the things that I found in the Catholic faith overlap with what I've seen in like therapy.
Okay.
And so yeah, that's been a huge connection for me.
Gotcha.
Is finding the similarities between Catholicism and like CBT therapy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, gotcha. I'm wondering if so I got my friend over there, Matt. He's talking to that other gentleman over there. This isn't true, but let's pretend for a moment.
Okay.
Let's pretend that he is a big believer in Hinduism.
Okay.
And that he believed that there was a huge benefit to Hinduism, and he saw all these connections with like psychology and maybe the CBT, was it?
Yeah,
Okay.
cognitive behavioral therapy.
Yes. And I guess would that be a good reason to believe that the Hindu god Vishnu is true and real?
I don't think alone that it can be a reason for your beliefs.
Okay. For you, is it a reason or not? Not
It
really.
is one of the reasons,
Okay.
but I think also
Not one of the better ones, or
I think it has been a better reason for me in my understanding of like God existing.
okay.
I think my God could look different from like the traditional Catholic
Okay.
God.
Sure, I understand.
So I think it's a good reason to believe in something bigger than myself, but probably not a good reason to believe that Catholicism is the one true faith.
Okay.
Yeah.
Help me understand why, and if you're not saying this,
Yeah.
like totally correct me, but it sounds like you're saying that it's a good reason for you, but for Matt, it might not be a good reason. Is that what you're saying?
I don't think. Let me think here. I think it can be part of the reason.
Okay. Can be part of the reason.
Yes.
Was it a significant reason for you?
For my belief in God, but not my Catholic beliefs.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Like
okay.
it's my reason for like believing in something bigger than myself, but not
So a higher power?
higher. Yeah.
Whether that's a god, gods, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. I guess what gets you to the Catholic God, or your version of the Catholic God?
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
I don't know. People could definitely like make fun of me for whatever I'm going to say and whatever will end up on YouTube.
Well, I'm certainly not going to make fun.
Yeah, I can't stand here and cite anything super historical on my faith, but I definitely dug into it my sophomore year and
Okay.
read a lot of stuff, a lot of the historical stuff that just really like hit home for me. Also listening to certain like historical podcasts about the Christian faith. I think how I pick my Catholic faith like on any given day is just because you can trace it back to the original church. So more like Protestant religions.
So the people who started believing it first, is that what you mean by original church?
Yeah, tracing it back to like Jesus coming, which is kind of the foundation of the Catholic faith.
Okay.
And
Do you think for other religions they can trace back their origin as well?
I think they probably can.
Okay. Does that make it more true if they can trace it back to the origin, or?
I don't know if it makes it more true. I think a lot of what I've learned about Catholicism has kind of sealed my faith, but I will admit that I haven't traced back all of the faiths, like Islam and all of that.
Right.
Like I don't know the deep down. I wish I could, but like religious studies isn't I'm a nursing major, so.
Okay, cool.
But like I see it as kind of a journey throughout my life. Like,
Sure.
if I found something that was more true or provided more concrete evidence, I would probably change my faith. Yeah.
If you were to really start studying Islam, for example, you brought that up, and you were to find where it originated from, and you got all the details of its origin, and you know exactly how it started,
Yeah.
would you have a confidence that Islam is true?
I guess it would depend on what I find. I would have to look at like the different truths that are claiming.
What do you mean by truth?
Catholics claim to have one truth, like an objective truth.
About God?
Yes,
Okay.
and kind of the teachings and how we're supposed to live our life and all of that. And I know that Islam's and every other religion, Buddhist, whatever, those people have objective truths too. So I definitely that's a big point of respect for me. Like I never want to push my faith on anybody else, but
Yeah, I can respect that.
it'll also be like a lifelong journey of kind of digging into those things. I think it helps that a lot of the people around me are Catholic and believe what I do. But like you say, that's not just a reason to believe something.
Okay. Right.
And people in my faith who do just are born and raised Christian or Catholic. Like, they do
Yeah.
bug me when they don't dig into it and
Sure.
want to understand why you believe what you believe.
This might be a question that you might want to take the time answering it if you need to, but
Okay.
what could you learn that would reduce your confidence that your version of the Catholic God is real, true?
I think if I found a major fallacy in something that the church teaches, or if something that they presented as historically accurate was like debunked
Okay.
and not true, then I think it would make me question a lot of things.
So if something in the Bible would if you found out that it wasn't historically accurate, that would reduce your confidence?
Maybe not the Bible, but more of just
Okay.
like the telling of the story,
Telling of the
how
stories.
it actually, like from a historical standpoint rather than like a biblical, because I know the Bible it can get kind of complex in how you're supposed to take things literally or
Yeah.
not literally. So I know that the humans who wrote the Bible were flawed. They were only human. So kind of take that with a grain of salt when I'm reading the Bible. But as for like the actual historical things that happened, what happened, there is only one truth about what happened. So
Okay.
more on that.
What else?
Yeah.
Is there anything that could increase your confidence?
Maybe if Jesus came down and spoke to me tomorrow, that would make me more confident. But I think in the way that things kind of go on the day to day, I don't think so, except for my own personal experience with my faith through prayer and adoration and kind of the Catholic
Interesting.
teaching. Yeah.
Okay. Is there a way that we can test to see whether your version of a god, of your god, is true or false?
I don't think so. Mm-mm.
And you have a high confidence that this god is true, even though there's no test?
I guess, I don't know, not a high confidence in like a scientific sense, but
In what kind of sense?
just kind of like an inner knowing, which I know isn't scientific, but
Yeah.
emotions also aren't.
Do you think that's a good way to determine what is true?
No, but I think, well, I don't think it's always a good way to determine what is true. No, and that's
But you've used it to determine what is true?
my truth, but
Your
I also
truth.
don't see it as like an objective truth that everybody needs to believe.
So,
And also, I have relied more heavily on like the historical senses of the faith.
okay. You comfortable continuing it?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Just want to make sure you didn't need to get going somewhere.
No.
All right.
I see where it's going, but I feel like I'm just gonna walk myself into a hole because I know nothing can be proven. But I choose to believe. That's
Yeah. Yeah, I guess
church.
you said that your truth, can different people have different truths? Can something be true for Matt if he believes in Hinduism, and something different be true for you who believes in your version of Catholicism?
I like to believe that we're all searching for the same thing.
Yeah, I think we are. We all want to believe true things, right?
Yeah.
But can the Catholic God be true at the same time as the Hindu gods?
I don't think so. Not exactly how they
Okay.
present themselves.
Okay.
I think we're just all trying to take a stab at it.
Okay, gotcha. So really, maybe truth is just, it kind of is what it is, and there is no my truth, your truth, there just is the truth, or...
I think, yes, I think there
Okay.
is an objective truth, but it's so outside of our scope that we will never know what it is, unless maybe in the afterlife.
Fair enough.
So,
But you still have a pretty high confidence, even though we can't know? I guess I'm kind of
I guess
lost.
if we broke it down, maybe my confidence isn't as high, but maybe I
Maybe
want it to be to avoid nihilism. I don't know. I think you have to believe in something,
Okay.
or else you're just kind of floating.
Can you be in a position where you don't have a good way to test what is true, and you kind of just lack belief? Is that a position you can hold?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I know people who hold that position.
Okay. What do you think about it?
Not like an agnostic belief, like not
Yeah,
atheist
like
or atheist.
you don't know if God exists, doesn't exist. You have no way to test it, so you just kind of don't claim that a God doesn't exist. Don't claim that a God does.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely a way that a lot of people live. I don't think it's necessarily wrong, because we're all just kind of dropped into life, and there's no like guidebook on how to find the right thing.
Sure.
So yeah, me personally, I don't think there's an issue with that. I think
Sure.
other Catholics would say that there are, but that's one of my struggles with the Catholic Church, you know?
That's okay.
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. So if we can't really devise a test, I think you agree that we can't test.
Yeah.
I guess where's the best position to be?
I don't know. I think it depends on the type of person, because like studies do show that believing in something leads to a higher level of well-being and like finding meaning.
Sure.
But some people might have a problem with that because
Yeah.
you think you're tricking yourself into something that's fake. So I think the journey's definitely different for everyone.
Okay. I'm going to do one last thought experiment, and then I think that's about all I got.
Okay.
So, let's say Alan the alien. He comes from some other planet. Who knows what planet? Doesn't matter.
Okay.
He doesn't know anything about Earth. Doesn't know anything about any religion. He's very neutral. He's very unaware. He lands down right over there in the field.
Okay.
And he wants to determine what is true. He hears our conversation, and he hears about Catholicism, and he walks over to Matt. He talks about Hinduism. He hears a couple Muslims talking about Islam, and he talks to an atheist over there, and he wants to know what is true, what is objectively true, and what is the best way for him to figure that out?
I think he has to get on the internet and find some books and do a lot of reading.
Okay. What could he discover in those books to convince him that should persuade him one way or the other?
I think what has happened historically and how those faiths were founded and why they were founded.
I thought earlier, did we decide that? Did you say that wasn't a very good reason?
I think I said that was, but relying on believing something because you want it to be true isn't a very good reason.
Okay.
I think the history is where it's at.
Okay. Okay, the history.
Maybe I said the wrong thing.
I don't know. I think we were talking, and I think I may have used the example of Matt with Hinduism.
Yeah.
And if he discovered the origins of Hinduism and exactly how it started and had everything, that wouldn't necessarily mean Hinduism is true, right?
Yeah. So I guess he would be in the same predicament.
Yeah. Still not
trying
really.
to decide which
Yeah.
he thinks is most true, which all comes
Yeah.
down to opinion.
Opinion. Is it the opinion doesn't change what's actually true, though, right? I think we'd kind of
No.
agreed. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure
That
I didn't
one big
misunderstand.
objective truth that
There's
yeah.
one objective truth, but you can have an opinion on
Yeah.
what is true. Yeah. Okay, I got
I think
you.
so.
Okay.
I feel good sleeping at night with that thought.
Sure. Okay. I think that's about all I got. So, do you have any questions for me?
Are you a person of faith?
I am not.
Okay.
Do you want to know a little bit more about me?
Yeah, I would love
Okay.
to, honestly.
Cool. So I grew up single mom, no dad, no brothers, no sisters, and my mom was raised in a Catholic, but probably more of a Catholic like you than what people a lot of times traditionally think of as a Catholic.
Right.
And originally, when I was young, she didn't really say much about it. It was not important, right? It was like feeding me was more important than, you know what I mean? Yeah, right?
Yeah, the day-to-day.
Yeah, exactly. And as we've both gotten older, I think she's probably gotten more faithful, I guess. I don't know how to exactly phrase it. And I even though I grew up in her household where she was a believer to some extent, I can't say that I ever was. I would consider myself actually just right in, if there's a confidence scale where 100 is I believe fully and 0 is I believe there is no God, I am perfectly centered, balanced, right on that 50-50.
Interesting. So do you ever feel inclined to learn more about all the faiths and try and find that truth?
Yeah, so I actually have this buddy who practices street epistemology as well, and he's from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I think I got all those words in the correct order.
Yeah.
And
Mormon, I think?
Don't like that's an outdated term.
Got it.
Yeah.
Good for me to know.
Yeah, it is. I think they just say member of church.
The Church of the Latter-day Saints.
Kind of
I've
a
definitely
mouthful.
heard that. Yeah.
And yeah, I've talked to him quite a bit, and it's fun to learn about that. And I've talked to a few other people, and actually talked to, you have no idea who this is, Jerry Bader. He in Green Bay. He was a radio host, conservative radio host for a long time. And then he found his own church. I talked to him. He's an awesome guy. It was really fun talking to him and learning more. And yeah.
Cool. That's interesting. Well, I think this stuff is so cool. I think it's just cool to have you guys out here, and I had to stop.
No problem. You want to grab a card?
Sure.
All right.
I'll definitely go watch your guys' video.
Cool.
Like and subscribe.
Who's Pierce?
That's me.
That's you. Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
And then you can have a magnet too if you want.
For
and fruit
sure.
snacks, water.
For sure.
We got everything.
Thank you guys.
Yeah,
Have a
see ya.
good day.